I'm Tony Alva, and we're in Amsterdam right now, downtown showdown. Yeah, I think about, skateboarding a lot, but, the basic and the fundamentals of skateboarding for me revolve around surfing. So, like this morning when I was out there skating the course, checking it out, helping, the guys that built the course kind of make it better for the event. It's really just about, the fundamentals. It's not really about tricks. It's not really about how technical skateboarding is. What it is it's more about the enjoyment that I get from just riding. I like to just be on the board and feel like I have control and just feel free and just, one of my favorite things to do is just hit like something like a vert wall and just do a really nice smooth turn on it, or maybe like a frontside grind. I mean, there's a lot of different things, in skateboarding that to me, just the simplicity of it is what's beautiful about it, And I think that that's what came from my generation, That's what came from the fact that we were street skaters that learned how to skate similar to our surfing on banked surfaces, and then finally up walls, like vertical walls and stuff. And it's basically the same movement as when we're surfing, It's just like, except we're doing it on water. In skateboarding, it's wood, it's concrete, it's steel, it's whatever's available to us. So we're just surfing, really. That's all. Skateboarding is just surfing on wheels and instead of water, Oh, well, most of the guys are... one of the guys was from Swedish descent, a guy named Torger Johnson. And he was like one of my heroes and definitely a mentor to me at a young age. I skated on the same team he did when I rode for Logan Ersky. And lately they just reintroduced his board. It came back out again on Logan Ersky, and I had the opportunity to ride one of the boards that they reintroduced. And I shot a photo for the poster reintroducing the product at Paul Revere, where I used to skate as a kid. And the photographer was a young photographer who's a professional skateboarder from Finland. His name is Ardo Sari. So we did that together, and it just reminds me of kind of where I came from and what was so influential in my growth as a young skateboarder, and that was watching guys like Torger Johnson skateboard, and just how amazingly graceful he was. But also the fact that he was very innovative. He had a lot of moves and a lot of things he was doing that other guys weren't doing, because he was from the 60s. And this was before I was a very good skateboarder. I didn't really even start skateboarding until the late 60s. And in the early to mid 60s, Torger was a world champion already. So I learned a lot from him. Oh yeah, I used to skate. The very first pool I skated was a pool called the Rabbit Hole, and it was kind of shaped like a rabbit's head, and we would jump over the fence and skateboard. We couldn't even really get over the light yet. We were still learning how just to carve in a pool. And I just remember a lot of times it's just like trying to do things that hadn't been done yet. We weren't sure exactly what we could do in a swimming pool, but just we used to fall and just get back up and try it again and just keep doing things that we knew were possible, but we just didn't know how to do it yet. We didn't have a technique. And I used to get chased out of pools sometimes, like one time Mr. Gonzalez from the Gonzalez pool, and my friend Ray Flores and I were in the pool, and he came out with a big butcher knife, and he chased us out of the yard over the fence. We had to jump over the fence because he had like about a 12-inch long kitchen knife, like a butcher knife that you cut meat with. And he was chasing us out of the pool. And during the years, we ended up making friends with him and becoming almost a part of his family. And that pool, even though it was just destroyed like in the last year or so, that became one of my favorite spots and the most photographed places in my career, in my history of skateboarding. I used to skate there so much is that pool, his family, that house became synonymous with my skateboarding experience. And it's just funny how one minute you're getting chased out with a knife, and then the next couple of years or whatever, you're almost like part of the family. So skateboarding is pretty exciting like that, 1 minute someone's trying to kill you, the next minute they're they're giving you a hug and telling you welcome to the family, you know, so. Well, competitively, it was when I won the World's Championship, the men's overall world professional skateboard title at Carlsbad when I was 19 years old. But personally, I think it would be when I moved my business back to LA just lately. I made a transition to like start living my life more on a spiritual level than just having it all geared towards just money and sex and drugs and like a lot of the things that I thought were going to make me happy when I was a young man. I found that later in life that I needed to be connected to something that was bigger than myself, which came from the spirituality that I experienced from being a surfer. And I just learned to start living my life without smoking weed, without drinking, without doing anything that was destructive to my health and to my happiness, through a lot of like bad habits and selfish motives that I had when I was a younger man. I used to do, you know, I was like a big drinker, and I also smoked. I used to smoke weed every day, and I got rid of those vices and cleaned up my daily routine, as well as I got a lot more in contact with the spiritual side of my life through surfing and through music and things that I really love. Is when I cleaned up all of that other stuff in my life, those things got a lot better, a lot more enjoyable. I had a purer relationship with those things once I quit smoking weed every day and stuff. Business is pretty good right now because, you know, a lot of my boards, especially the old ones, are being reintroduced, and then some of the old boards are very valuable, you know, and the boards that I make now are all handmade, that I make to ride myself, and I just am always changing and always doing something a little bit different, like tweaking things a little bit to where I think they work better for me. I ride very unusual boards. They're very wide. They have a lot of different concaves, and I kind of went back to longer wheelbases with shorter noses than most guys will ride. So I have a different approach to skateboarding than most because of how long I've been doing it. And but in production, I started my company when I was 19 years old. So I'm a very old school entrepreneur in the skateboarding industry. I started it because I got tired of being connected to people that were telling me what to do all the time. I wanted to be my own boss. And it's funny because the word entrepreneur in English, one of the definitions for entrepreneur is somebody that's hopelessly unemployable. Which I like that definition because, you know, when you're an entrepreneur, you become your own boss. So it kind of has to do a lot with being rebellious. And I had a very rebellious attitude at a young age, but I've always enjoyed having my own business. I not only make skateboards, I make surfboards too. And I have like, I've had clothing lines, different things that I do, and I design shoes for Vans as well. So it's something it's creative. It's part of the creative process. The creative process comes from having good sponsors, having experience in what I know works good when it comes to surfing and skateboarding. And I even have sponsors that help me in I play bass guitar, and I play in a band. I play in a couple different bands, and, you know, I even have sponsorship now on that level. So it's nice to be involved with people, other creative people, in doing things that I really enjoy doing and sometimes getting paid for it. So it's a good way to make a living, is be a professional skateboarder if you can last long enough, you know, to really be successful at it.